New Mexico Democrat Alan Weber has raised more money in his run for governor than any other Democrat.
And this morning we have learned a well-known American terrorist helped him raise some of that money, and Weber does not deny it. News 13's Alex Goldsmith explains.
That radical left-wing group, the Weathermen, has claimed responsibility for yesterday's dynamiting of a statue of a Chicago policeman.
From the late 60s to the mid-70s, the Weather Underground planted and detonated bombs across the United States, a radical anti-war group with violent methods. One of its co-founders was Mark Rudd, the self-described intellectual author of the group's strategy. Rudd, who's lived in Albuquerque for decades, has expressed regret for the group's actions. Just a week and a half ago, Democratic candidate for governor businessman Alan Weber held a fundraiser at Rudd's Albuquerque home. A day later, Rudd endorsed Weber in an email. Tonight, Weber both distanced himself from Rudd and defended Rudd in a statement, saying, quote, "I just met Mark Rudd. Of course, I denounce terrorism and understand Mark Rudd regrets his involvement with a radical anti-government group from the 1960s. For over 2 decades, Mark has been a proponent of nonviolence and a teacher at CNM. Another Weather Underground co-founder, Bill Ayers, was in the political spotlight in 2008 for his ties to then-candidate Barack Obama.
Obama held one of his first meetings of his political career in Bill Ayers' living room.
Mr. Ayers is not involved in my campaign. He has never been involved in this campaign.
Alex Goldsmith, KRQE News 13.
Mark Rudd emailed us saying he believes any campaign attacks tying him to Mr. Weber by either Republicans or rival Democrats will backfire, just as it did for the McCain campaign in 2008. Weber is considered one of the top Democrats running against Governor Susana Martinez. And one state representative here in New Mexico won't be back at the Roundhouse next year because she is off the ballot. Yesterday, a judge ruled that State Representative Sandra Dreier, who is from Crown Point, doesn't have enough ballot signatures on her nominating petition. Ms. Jeff is a maverick Democrat who has sided with Republican Governor Susana Martinez on several key issues in the House. Ms. Jeff hasn't said if she'll appeal that judge's ruling.
An Albuquerque man convicted of disturbing sex crimes against his own children is headed to prison. Yesterday, a judge sentenced Matthew Cox to the maximum of 18 years behind bars. Cox and his wife Cheryl were arrested back in 2010 after their 16-year-old daughter told a relative her parents made them gather in circles naked at their Sandia Park home. The children were told to touch each other sexually. In January, Cox pleaded no contest to 10 counts, including rape and child exploitation. Family members recently talked about the couple's beliefs.
He started following what he called his new Bible, a book detailing how you can have multiple sex partners and how you can give up this life whenever you want, and then pick up a new life when you're ready. At one point, he even started planning a utopian-type society.
The trial for Cheryl Cox is set for later this year. For now, she is out on bond, but is not allowed to go anywhere near her children. An Albuquerque man accused of going to public swimming pools and taking pictures of kids underwater has pleaded guilty to child porn charges. 21-year-old Joshua Iben was arrested last November. FBI agents raided his Northeast Heights home and say that they found that he had been sharing child porn through email. They say Iben admitted going to pools to take pictures of children using a small camera wrapped in saran paper or saran wrap. But online court records don't ever show that he was charged in connection with those incidents. For now, though, Iben faces up to 20 years in federal prison.
New Mexico is now making another big push to stop kids from drinking and driving. Mothers Against Drunk Driving says when parents talk with their kids about not drinking, 80% listen and don't drink. So yesterday, the city of Albuquerque and state leaders proclaimed Power Talk 21. It's a program with MAD for parents to set a zero-tolerance policy for underage drinking. Statistics show kids who start drinking are 7 times more likely to be involved in drunk driving crashes in their lives. Well, today, 5th graders in the Albuquerque Public School District will learn how to go green all for this Earth Day. Think Energy P&M Homeworks is a program that teaches kids to be environmentally conscious and is giving kids a kit with a whole bunch of things they can use around the house to save water and electricity. And speaking of things eco-friendly, the Sled of Pueblo is going solar.
Yes, it's the first reservation in New Mexico to choose renewable energy to power their future. Yesterday, a ribbon-cutting ceremony was held at the Tribal Service Complex Solar Array on the Pueblo. The $2 million project features dozens of solar panels that will power a wellness center. The Tribal Council also passed a resolution requiring renewable energy to be considered for all projects on the Pueblo. Many of Albuquerque's trees are getting old, and in the past few years, they've been hit by the drought and severe storms.
Yeah, particularly that storm we got last summer. Now, the city says some of these trees will need to come down soon before they fall down on something or someone. The city owns more than 20,000 trees in parks and medians. And for more than 3 years, the city didn't have a forester, basically a person in charge of all the trees and taking care of them. But now the city has hired someone, and he says the trees will have to be triaged.
To the degree that we are taking good care of the trees we have and taking them out before they're in serious decline and replacing them with new trees, when a big storm does come through, we'll have less damage.
The new city forester there says the damage from last year's summer storms, this is the one back in July, had many trees. It shows how many trees are declining or at risk. He says his first order of business is to figure out which ones are the worst shape and deal with them first.